Sunday show. We got 3 shows lined up for you today, and the first one is with our good friend Barabeke. Welcome back to Bitcoin Live.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. It's exciting to be here. It's been a while, and I have some interesting stuff to show that I think people can find interesting, especially those that are into AI art or are curious about it. And yeah.
But before we sort of go into that, can you give a short introduction? Because, like you said, it's been a while, and to refresh people's memories of who you are and what you've been up to up till now.
Yeah, so I'm Barabeke. I'm an Italian artist. I've been a digital artist since 2006, and I'm one of the NFT pioneers, so to say, among artists, one of the first that joined the movement back in 2019. And I think I've been one of the first 200 minting art on Ethereum, I believe. And I've been doing that since. And so I'm a visual artist, but I'm also a writer. I have a Substack that is called The Odd Gospel. So I also have some philosophical thought, let's say. And I'm quite thought-provoking, let's say. So I've always been quite independent, never in the mainstream, although I've been attracting some interest in these last few years. And recently I have embraced AI art like 100%, which is quite strange, let's say, or some may find controversial. And that's something I want to address today by showing some AI art that I have created and explain why it is an actual form of art, and show some examples and show my new collection that I'm launching on the blockchain Avalanche. Is my first time on Avalanche, and I'm quite excited about it because I mean, it looks like a really serious candidate to be the famous Ethereum killer. So it has a terrific technology and ecosystem and of the apps. So it is quite a good technology. It is raising, and yeah. So I've joined this chain on the portal salvor.io. And yeah, I will be showing some stuff as well of
Yeah,
that.
I just pulled up one of your new artworks, which is really amazing. I think I
Thank you.
commented to you. It kind of looks like a combination of Gustav Klimt and Carlo. Or
Yes,
Cola, I
and
should say.
I've been launching. I'm in the process of launching this collection. It should be live already, but it's still not on sale. It's called Eros and Thanatos. So the pulsions for life and death, and what you see has been created with AI, and I consider it an actual work of art that is mine and not created by AI. Because a common prejudice that there is between people when talking about AI art is like, well, you didn't do it, AI did it. And it is actually incorrect. I actually shared the same prejudice previously. I also have this thinking, and I've been avoiding it. And then, as I got deep into it and I got into its complexities, I realized that it is an actual form of art on its own. That everybody is able to create some decent image with AI. But to actually create art that you recognize as a form of your expression, it takes more than that. And I think my process of creation is quite original. It's not that I use AI and I give this some prompts, and I get to these images. Creating these images actually costed me something like a couple of weeks of intense work, or what I call a journey inside the mind of the machine.
Cool.
And I've been generating, and I came off from this journey with something like almost 7,000 images.
Wow.
And
They
yeah,
look really stunning.
what? Sorry?
They look very stunning. I mean, the first time I saw it, I was kind of blown away. I mean,
Thank you.
I'm a big fan of Frida Kahlo, and then also of Gustav Klimt, of course. These are very famous names, and it has this element of, sort of a festival of the dead in South America. Sorry, I'm still waking up. It's still early, but it looks really stunning, and I love how you put it together. And can you sort of give us the secrets of how you sort of prompt AI to sort of come up with these images, and what you sort of do to make them your own?
Sure. I'm going to share some insights about my mambo jumbo, so to say. I'm going to share my screen. And then, just a second. So I need to find
the right image.
I'm going to share the
whole browser.
I'm going to share the entire screen.
Yeah.
No, not Breta window.
I'll show another one in the meantime.
Just a second. I'm coming. Okay, maybe like this. Okay, I found it. Okay.
There we go.
Can you see it?
Yes.
So this series, Eros and Thanatos, I hope the image is not flickering. It is for me.
A little bit.
Yeah.
It's from Gustav Klimt, very famous.
Yeah. So what I did was, of course, using quite a complex combination of instructions that were textual for AI that I've been varying multiple times. But in the genetic code of this series, there are also 3 artworks from artists of the past that are all in the public domain today. And the first one is Death and Life from Klimt, which is the one you see. It's quite famous. And I think people can probably recognize a bit of genes from this painting more than the rest. Another one I used is Virgin and Child by Jean Fouquet. It's unbelievable that this was painted in 4045, but it was. So there is also this that took me also in different directions, but it is present as well. And then I've been using this lithograph of a Madonna by Munch, which I particularly like. And this is the first one you saw. So I only minted 5 so far, and I will keep minting them regularly. I believe I have plenty of them, all very different between each other. Yeah, but somehow similar in style, and the way I got there, it's okay. This is what I call an intermediate image. So while I work on AI, at some point I generate some images that I consider as stepping stones. And so I take them, and sometimes I modify them. Also in this case, this I actually modified it because AI didn't want to play with it because this lady was naked. Yes. They don't like nudity, although they can produce boobs, let's say. So it is not impossible, but and so I did this crosses to add this element, and so there are many images that I've been using as stepping stones, and this is one of them. And that led, for example, to this artwork that is the first time everybody sees it. And But this is another series, okay, that I will be working on, and this is more related to Munch, as you can see.
Yes. Yeah.
And for my art, I also use models. And let me see. I need to share.
So two questions. Like the first one is, does AI also sometimes screw up? Do you have like beautiful failures or awful failures when AI sort of puts stuff together in a way that is very distasteful or ugly? And the second question is, do you have any sort of message that you want to bring across with this particular series? Because it seems kind of religious in essence.
Yeah. Well, AI has many flaws. One very common flaws is that it's not that great with hands. So hands are particularly difficult also for artists to draw, and AI makes no exceptions. I would say that almost 50% of the times, if not more, it screws up. But apart from that, it often generates weird results. So I've generated so far in a very intensive 2 months, something like 10,000 images. And to generate those 10,000 images, I probably had to go through maybe 40,000 or something like this. So it takes a lot of patience.
But does it also mean that you throw away a lot?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And most of what I created will remain unpublished. But I would say that at least I have at least 1,000 artworks that could be remarkable, if not even more. Remarkable to a point that if I could take a time machine and go to the past, I don't say the last century, I say like 10 years ago. And I say, look at the stuff I did. People will be like, wow, I could become, with the right push, like an important artist immediately. But today, 10 years later, this type of possibility is open, I don't say to everyone, because it's a difficult craft. And I would like to speak about its challenges, because I think people underestimate it. And so why it is a form of art. Of course, you're not the one painting and creating. So in a way, it is AI painting it. But there is also something that I don't know if people noticed. If you look at all the AI art that is produced, mostly is crap. Like if you search for AI art on Twitter, I think 1/3 of the images are some Japanese anime girl with gigantic boobs, And generally speaking, people just create some stuff that it's not really too impressive. It's good enough, but it's not too impressive. But if you actually get to a high level of competence with it, which means you learn how to use the parameters that are quite complex, and there are plenty of them. I mean, people need to understand that the taking of images from AI is like plugging in an ocean of infinite possibilities. And if there were 100 million people spending 1 million hours each creating art with AI, I believe that none will create an image that is equal to the other. So this is the level of originality that you can actually generate. And so it's not actually copying. At most, you can inherit the style. Of course, there are also concerns with this practice. And for example, copyrights concerns. And in my case, I'm not too worried about it, because I'm always, even before, I was working with paintings and masterpieces from a distant past. I've been working a lot with the works of Da Vinci, for example. And also in these cases, if I use images from others, is from public domain. But there are actually artists, especially comic artists, that are current artists and that have a very popular following, that are suffering a bit from that, because people just say, do this art in the style of this guy. I don't even know their name because I was into manga when I was a kid, but I'm interested in creating visual art or also photography. And
So, but isn't the case that if you alter or slightly alter an image, or even if it's an artwork, that you can sort of evade or copyright issues?
well, in theory, no, because you're not allowed, especially, I don't know, if you sell it even as stock images, you're not allowed to not just copy from others, but also to enter, let's say, do it in the style of a famous photographer or stuff. And I think it's fair. But at the same time, I'm not sure you can actually create a damage, because let's take the example of people that imitate the style of a famous comic artist. I mean, what they are doing in reality is just spreading further his legend, its fame, and
Yeah, I'm paying homage.
and people will ultimately want to have the real stuff, the original.
True.
If some anonymous guy just copy the style and put it online, you're still an anonymous guy.
Oh, there was this famous copyright issue where they did research if sort of the free spreading of, for example, movies or whatever, did damage to the original, and it was the case that it actually spread the original. It could actually improve the sales of those original copies of the movie or the artwork or whatever.
I mean, there is definitely ground for complaints. My way to avoid it is natural, because I work with stuff in public domain, or literally mostly on my input. But the way I see it after using it for so long is that what AI does is not that it copies from somebody in particular. It literally plugs in, how would I call it, in the imagery of humankind as a whole. And and that makes it fascinating. And I want to show an example that an example I made with photography, starting from art. Let me open that will. Okay, now first I'm going to share my models. So when I work with AI, I also work with models. And these are actual models that I created with AI.
I'm very curious.
Can you see them?
Yes. Yeah.
So you see, this lady doesn't exist, and not even this, and not even this. And I have like 100 ladies that are similar to this, that are my
I think
models.
at the moment it's stuck. So it's stuck on the first screen that you. Yeah, now it's moving.
Okay, can you see the lady now?
No, I think it's still loading.
Okay,
I see your cursor moving.
wait. I think I need to share the right window. Oh no.
Yeah, probably.
Oops. Oh no, I opened Discord. Let me see. Okay. Okay. Oops.
Discord takes a lot of bandwidth.
Wait.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. So this is one of my models. I just put 3 example of models. This is one. This is another. This is another one. You see, these are ladies that are extremely beautiful, and they look absolutely real. If people didn't know that it was AI, they wouldn't know. And I want to share an example of photography. Let me see. Okay, so you understand a bit. what I'm talking
But
about.
do you also think moving forward that copyright would have to be dropped altogether with sort of the explosion of AI?
Well, I think that in the long run, what makes sense is that what will the predominant legislation will be that copying just the style of something with maybe a few exceptions is not actually stealing, because anyway, now can you see this painting?
Yes, famous owl of the
Okay.
devil. Yeah.
For example, I created a photograph, a series of photographs based on this painting by Bocklin that I love. I actually saw it in real life in Basel. Also, this on the public domain. And so I fed it to AI, but AI knows it anyway. It's not that I'm giving him something that AI ignores, but I'm basically telling me in the balance of what I'm creating, give a weight of, let's say, 50% to this painting, take inspiration from this. And it will take inspiration mostly from the type of composition, mood, and colors. And then I added to this prompt. So you see, photorealistic, mysterious small island in a dark, still lake, long shot. The island, blah, 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 blah. But you see, then you can get to the extent that you can tell AI which camera you are using and which lens, which time of the day, the lighting. So you can get extremely technical. And from that, I generated the images like this, you see? So
really
this could be like a series of award-winning photos that nobody will be able to tell at first sight they are generated by AI. Of course, an expert by analyzing it and going deep could tell that is from AI. But still is quite impressive. This stuff is, as I say, if I could take a time machine and go back a decade ago, this stuff could have, just this one, could have an exhibition,
True.
And because AI is gifted of an aesthetic sense that you can variate in a very subtle way. So you see, it is quite interesting what you can do. And
Yeah, this is really gorgeous. So some people are saying like AI will take away art or take away the artist in art. So they see it sort of as an enemy. Some people see it as a friend. I think you're more along that first line. So can you tell us a little bit about how you see that discussion and where do you fall exactly?
well, of course, they have a point. I think this stuff, considering that what I'm showing you is just the beginning of it. This is the beginning. This is going on forever, and so I think it's going to have an impact on creative jobs. I already see a lot of YouTube videos that clearly used as images stuff that they created with AI. So I think there will be an impact on jobs, including photography, because you saw the level of quality that I could obtain with with AI, which doesn't mean these arts are going to be dead. I see AI as an art of its own that has its own beauty, and so creating actual art with it takes a number of skills that that people must possess in a way. I will mention. I mean, when you see a art that is really great, typically the one that produces it is already some established artist. And there is a reason for that, because it's not that everybody can do this stuff. You need to have, first of all, an artistic eye. You need to recognize what is good, what you feel as yours. And you have to reason both as an artist and as a curator, because there is a lot to discard, a lot of choices to make, almost infinite choices to make. And this takes skills, it takes copywriting as well. And at the beginning of my career, I was a copywriter back in Italy, and I write in English now. So writing, of course, helps a lot. A bit of coding helps. You don't need to be a developer. So, knowing the prompts of AI, and also learning to interact with the machine. That is a very subtle, I would say, organism that is in evolution. And the more you practice, the more you can play with it, you can predict where it's going to take you. And you also need to have a bit of a scientific mind. It's a very empirical process of trial and error. So you also need to act in this way. And you need to have also technical knowledge, for example, of photography and filmmaking. And this is helpful for me, because at the very beginning, when I was a teenager, I was very passionate about photography. So I acquired that technical knowledge. And then you also need to have culture, because you need to possess many references, and so it takes a mix of many skills to get to some very interesting level. But yeah, it's a new situation in which I don't know. Like I think I've created more sacred art in the past couple of months that the entire Western civilization in the past few years, probably. And and if you multiply, or somebody is ringing, I'm not sure. If you multiply this potential for millions of people that get into it very deeply, there will be an explosion of beauty and interesting stuff that is going to be unprecedented. It's not going to kill the creative jobs for a while. It will kill some creative jobs, I think. But
so which ones do you think it will destroy?
I think freelancers that are used to work with small and medium businesses are going to suffer a bit from it. And but it opens also opportunities, I will say, because I think there will be need for, as I said, it's not that AI does the stuff. You need to have a human that can actually do it and take the machine in certain direction. And that is a complex skills that I believe will have value. There will always be a human intermediary, because there is an inherent limit that is that the way to communicate to the machine is through language. Okay,
Yeah.
so to translate language is in image is a complex problem that is also quite philosophical. I will find. Okay, so it's I could get deep in the philosophical side maybe in another occasion, but
well, there's this awesome book, I forgot the writer of it, but it's called On Images, which sort of, I guess, touches upon that. And of course, AI is becoming more and more visual. I think the next version of ChatGPT is also learning how to interpret and deal with video images, or it has already launched, I think. And you're, I think, using Midjourney, right?
Yes, I'm using Midjourney, and I'm quite impressed by the last model they have, 5.2. They updated it literally a month ago, and I'm sticking with that for the moment. So I'm not, I cannot call myself a pioneer of AI, one of those that experiment with in complex ways, with videos, for example, or by developing a special technology. I'm here I'm really speaking for the average Joe. Like I'm speaking about resources that everybody can access, and everybody with the right training and cultivation could become quite skilled at. And there is a big question mark that is this stuff worth? You know, as I say, in worth in terms also because of the sheer quantity that is going to be of it. You know, as I say, if I could take a time machine and take the art I produce today in any other time in the past, I could impress people. But what about today? Is there going to be a market? Yeah, I'm sure there is going to be a market. There is a market already. There is still a bit of prejudice, which I think is motivated to some extent. But
this was the book, by the way.
What, sorry?
This was the book I mentioned. I just sort of, which is from John Kowicki. On images. So it's very good. It's very technical. It's highly dense philosophy when it comes to images, but also image interpretation. So it's very. I can highly recommend it. It's worth reading.
Oh, that's very interesting. Thanks for the recommendation.
I'll link it down below in the video.
Yes.
But some people are saying, like, we're very close where one person can do the work of like 1,000 others. And some people are even dreaming that you can sort of create your own movie. I think you basically already can, but that you can create your own feature movie in your basement, so to speak.
Yes, we are totally getting there. Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, AI is already my assistant. Like I'm using Bard. That is quite good as well, like Chat GPT, and it is quite impressive, and scary at the same time, because it also opens many philosophical questions. Because in the past, when you didn't know something, maybe you try to speak with somebody. There was socialization. It is killing socialization between humans. So there is a gloomy side to it. So it's this brave new world has some scary elements to it, absolutely. But what can I say? I'm excited about AI because I feel it is really for me, because it combines together multiple skills that I have and I could never really combine in the past. And
would you also say like that it's urgent for people to get involved with AI, or would you say it's that's not an issue?
Well, I think people will inevitably get involved with AI. Like in the past, I would say they will inevitably get involved with the internet. So it is just inevitable. And I mean, AI is a strange beast. It's almost we are creating a new species, and I'm very convinced by it. And this has something to do with my philosophy as well.
So talking about your philosophy, because I also wanted to mention your really cool Mona Lisa series that you launched.
Yeah, I can share some stuff.
You got 1 year.
Oh yeah. This is actually, I created my first AI series. It's called Mona Lisa Reloaded. It's actually made of 3 series. And the one you see is called actually Mona Lisa, the only one that is called Lisa. And all the others have other names like Mona, Giovanna, Mona, Antonia, and stuff like all Italian names. So this is Mona Lisa. And and then there is other stuff. I don't know if you want to show. Otherwise, I do have some photos to share.
Yeah, please share.
Okay, so
while you're doing that, can you sort of tell us a little bit about sort of your philosophy behind the art and the imagery? Because you use a lot of sort of because Mona Lisa is also sort of religious imagery. So this
yes, of course. Okay, Okay. So this is me with the earlier Mona Lisa, which has been my model for the series Mona Lisa Reloaded. That's my favorite painting. That's me in Florence. And this is the full painting.
Nice.
I actually like it more than the real Mona Lisa. And from that, I created a series that I still have so much to release. And you see, you can see the trace of Da Vinci in here, but there is also some originality in terms of subject and so you mentioned the spirituality. For me, it is kind of a spiritual journey, because these are still early experiments. So if I see them today, I'm not satisfied of the stuff that I'm doing now, but it is still quite interesting, I believe. Especially these futuristic dark monas from the future. And
they're fun.
so I'm I call myself a counterculture agent, in the sense that I do have a blog called The Odd Gospel on Substack, where I write some cultural articles and participating, let's say, in the culture war as an independent. And I actually do have some spiritual message to share that people can find, and it's actually hidden in my art. Like if you see these ladies, all my AI art has something hidden that it can be found. I'm not going to tell more, but yeah, there is something spiritual that I'm seeking. There is an ideal of beauty that I'm looking for, that in part is based on the Mona Lisa, but not just that. And I've been, after this, I created stuff that nobody has seen so far, which I call digital sacred art. I don't know if I was sharing the screen. Let me, with the Mona Lisa, but okay. And I started to create Madonnas like hell. Here it is. So yeah, this is just some of the Madonnas that I created. So
so you combine sort of this religious imagery with your counterculture aesthetics or motivation. What is sort of rebellious or countercultural about these images?
Well, I think it's countercultural because sacred art is not really something trendy nowadays. I don't know. Are the images showing?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And but this I actually did it more for my search. As a matter of fact, I didn't mean to, because I'm not even sure that that people will be that interested. But I'm sure that what I created as some value for some people. I'm just showing some example, but
they're really gorgeous and lovely.
So I've been following this path for a while, and then I still haven't published this stuff. I wanted to really to make like religious icons, like the Russian icons, on some square. I'm still unsure. I'm still unsure of what I'm going to do with them, but it was part of my search. So it is difficult. It is possible to do some sort of spiritual search through AI. You see, these are not just simple Madonnas. They all are, although different, they're all dark. They have some they have variation in style, but the theme is quite similar. And
Yeah, would you argue, because from origin you are you were very leftist when you sort of once started on the internet, I believe you told me, and then you moved more to the center, and now you're sort of also, you incorporated sort of the religious elements, which many people would consider to be sort of cultural right.
Well,
Ish,
I wouldn't.
or
I mean,
you dislike these labels altogether?
I never actually identified myself as leftist or right winged. I definitely do have elements of the left because I'm a proponent of universal basic income um, for the future. I see the complexity of implementing it now, but is inevitability of the future. But I'm also quite a libertarian. Not necessarily in an American sense. You know, in Europe there is also a more leftist brand of libertarian, but I am for free speech, and I'm quite reasonable, rational, and common sense, even if I definitely have a spiritual side. So I'm not a fan of the woke left at all. As a matter of fact, they hate me, but I'm criticizing them, but not from a right-wing position, but definitely from the position of a believer of an intelligent creator.
Yeah,
So I
because
see,
that,
I see the division
yeah.
of the future, not between left and right, but more between those that are, let's say, completely atheist, nihilist, and those that believe in some intelligent creator. And there are very good reasons.
So on the one hand, you got the materialist, reductionist, mechanistic worldview, and you are more on the side of the spiritual, yeah, semi-religious, because that's what I was getting at, like these religious imagery. I mean, there's even discussions going that you have to ban them if they aren't already banned from schools, buildings. You know, that all the religious imagery has to be eliminated, which sort of fits this sort of materialist, reductionist, mechanistic view.
Yeah.
So there's this suppression of our spiritual heritage, basically. And is that sort of the counterculture that you're trying to stimulate with these religious imagery to sort of bring them back into the public space? And there's
Yeah,
many
it's
others too. Yeah.
I want to give to people beauty, a beauty that has some spiritual element in it, even if it can be creepy, like in Eros and Thanatos. So not necessarily I'm going to use a religious theme, but what I'm doing is not necessarily Christian. Let's say, even if the iconography reminds of Madonnas, and I'm not necessarily going to call it Madonnas. You know, it's sacred digital art. If people recognize in that the Virgin Mary, good for them.
Yeah.
If they want to see something else, I'm okay with that. But I will say that I'm definitely on the side of those that believe in an intelligent creator, and I think I have my novel arguments to support that they will become self-evident nowadays. So I'm not even promoting to match my culture. I think is more for the future, but it's definitely an important element of my art. If you ask me what you want to remain of you after you die, it's not as much my art, but my message that in theory should survive the centuries if the art I'm going to produce will probably be in the number of 10 of thousands or even more.
The
Will
proof will be in the
survive.
pudding.
If something of my art will survive, also my message will survive for those who can find it. And all my AI art is signed not Barabeke, but is signed Cerca Trova in reverse. It's the Italian for seek find, which was used by Da Vinci, and
Ah,
is written in reverse with the calligraphy of Da Vinci, actually, and it means that there is something to seek and to find. And I think that producing great art, bringing back beauty, because if you see AI art on NFTs, they are all puppets. You know, they're all.
A lot of it.
There are people that are there are artists that are taking AI art seriously, but these are really the early days. I would say that as far as I know, I'm one of the strongest proponents as of today, and so I'm definitely happy to connect with other people that share this passion for this very novel craft that I think has some noblesse. It is not true, you didn't do it, AI did it. It can be true to some extent if you just create an image too, but
one of the sort of the novel things about AI and sort of the AI art that's being created is bring back the figurative, right? Because the figurative was completely suppressed with modern art and postmodern art, which was very much conceptual and basically bankrupt as much as the system that it sort of brought it forward. And I really like that sort of AI art, and the whole crypto art movement brings back the figurative in art to the foreground.
Yeah, and AI art gives an opportunity for everybody to seek beauty.
Yeah,
beauty that perhaps they wouldn't have the mastery in most cases to create themselves.
By the way, you got some fans in the chat.
Oh yeah, thank you. And but my mentality is this: what matters is the final image. I'm diving in a realm of infinite possibilities, and I'm extracting from it something unique that didn't exist before, and that makes my soul vibe, and I recognize as a form of my expression because of shaping it like it was a sculpture. I'm almost doing like genetic engineering with words and images that go on and on and on and on forever, you know. And I think this is a beautiful form of art. And more people should get into it, because I believe there will be need of people that are good with it, because just having AI is not like okay, now I can create great images. You can do some good stuff, absolutely, something that serves the purpose at the moment, but if you actually want to do great art, great photography, something that also have some meaning, some thread that trace back to you as an artist, because the more you do it, the more is the volume of what you do, the more people will see that is actually the expression not of a machine, but of a specific artist.
So that might be like a nice way to end this discussion. Like how now, two questions. Like, do you have to be an artist to get involved in this new field? And secondly, if you are an artist, where do you start using or incorporating your AI into your work? What would you advise people to get started? Is it for everybody, or is it only for artists? And how do you start?
I would say it is definitely accessible for everybody, and I recommend to start from today. I will recommend Midjourney because it's what I use, because they came up with a model that it's absolutely stunning, and it is for everybody. But what I put inside, it's literally everything I learned in all my life. Photography, aesthetic sense, words, copywriting, practice with the machine, and technical skills. So it takes a combination of skills that can be cultivated nevertheless. And if people have a similar inclination to mine, they're really into a search for beauty, and they become kind of obsessed about it, like an artist will do, because that's what makes the difference. you need to be somebody like me, because the average Joe is going to do that and say, oh, that's cool, but is not going to become obsessed with it and make it something that he will spend entire weeks coding and playing with it. So it takes persistence, hard work, and so what people say, you didn't do it, AI did it, same prejudice that I had at the beginning, it is mostly unfounded. And the more we go forward, the more it will evolve. So we can expect to get it more and more subtle, and more complex and realistic, and still dependent on words, because that's the barrier between us, words, and the mind of the machine. In a way, that now I'm getting a bit philosophical, that is similar to the barrier that there is between us and the divine. That is also a barrier made of language. That's the barrier, you know. Like those that don't have the language are one with the creation. The language, you know, at the beginning was the word, you know. And if I may, I can end with no, I know I'm not doing, because that I don't want to get too philosophical, but
it's okay.
this thing I just said, I think has a deep meaning, because language is the barrier between us and that mind, which is a barrier that is similar to the language barrier poses between us and the divine. So I can leave you with that, people pondering on that. And this is part of the reason why also I'm very passionate about it. Although it's still in its infancy, what you can create with it, as I hope I've shown, it's already impressive enough to constitute actual art that has its own aesthetic and can be recognized as the expression of a specific artist.
Yeah, I love the new Avalanche series that you're launching. They look absolutely gorgeous. So people should definitely check it out. I'll link everything down below in the video. And I also agree with your parting words. I think the apophatic, sort of the non-expressive tradition, is, you know, everywhere in all mystical traditions, where sort of language breaks down and where you sort of reach the divine by going beyond language, basically. It's actually also in postmodernism. That's sort of the conclusion that they reached. Even though I disagree with a lot of postmodernism, I sort of think that they do have a point there. And also, to circle back to the book I mentioned, that's also about sort of language and images. So I definitely check for people who have like a philosophical inclination and are also interested in images and art. Definitely check out that book. It's technical, but
I will. Yeah, absolutely.
Will be rewarding. So yeah, Barabeke, thank you very much for being on the show again. Let's do this again.
Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure, and keep making that awesome art that you're creating.
Thank you very much, and greetings to everyone. And if you don't follow me on Twitter already, please follow me. I will post the links to the series and to my other AI art, and I will be happy to answer your questions.
And the handles down below and also up there. So follow Barabeke, and that's it for today. Take care, everybody, and see you later.
Thank you very much. Ciao, ciao.